Girls wanted paw prints, cat scratches, panthers, any kind of cat.
Mm, mm, mm.
Welcome to Homemade. I'm Shannon Cason. When I was young, my first thought of a tattoo was Popeye. Remember Popeye? Popeye the Sailor Man. I'm Popeye the Sailor Man. I have a distinct memory of watching Popeye when my mom and dad were still together. We lived on the northwest side of Detroit, right off the Avenue of Fashion, which is still a poppin' area. The Avenue of Fashion, still a cool area in Detroit. You should come visit. I was sitting on this brown couch in the living room watching Popeye cartoons. And one thing about Popeye, there were all types of different characters. There was Popeye, of course, Olive Oyl, Brutus, and there was some others too. He had kids and friends, but those were the main characters. Now, Brutus and Olive Oyl were pretty toxic.
Oh, I just love a man with muscles.
Oh, yeah? Well, I'm your man.
Brutus was a brute, of course, but Olive Oyl would flirt with Brutus right in front of Popeye. Then Brutus would go too far. He would go too far.
Look me over, baby. I'm the strongest man in the world.
Kidnap Olive Oyl, do some real thirst bucket shit, and then
Hold on, me sweet patootie. I am on me way.
Olive Oyl would need saving, and old simpy savior Popeye would eat his spinach, then go save the day.
Oh, Popeye, you're the real Mr. Muscle.
But right after that, she would go back to pushing Popeye around, really bullying Popeye, then flirt with Brutus again right in front of Popeye. They were really toxic to Popeye when I think about it. We can argue this if you like to, but I wish I was Popeye's friend. I wish I was. I would tell him, man, you got to move on. This isn't working. She don't respect you. We got to do something different with our lives, brother. That was just a thought. That's just a thought. But Popeye had tattoos. That's the point I was trying to make. Popeye had tattoos, and that was my first thought of tattoos. It wasn't a compelling one, by the way. As I got older, I found out tattoos were supposed to mean anti-establishment. I'm a contrarian. I'm a rebel. I had an opportunity to get a tattoo in high school. My best friend at the time was this funny dude, real funny dude named O'Neal. O'Neal was really funny too. I told him he should go into comedy, and I think he did. I think when he moved to LA, got involved with the Groundlings because he was really funny. I was funny too, but I'm funny in a dry way. He was really just funny. He did some comedy. I'll tell you more about him in an upcoming story. But we went to Gibraltar Trade Center, me and O'Neal in Taylor, Michigan. And it's not there anymore, but it was a swap meet that was as big as a mall. I remember you had to pay a fee to get into the Gibraltar Trade Center. But once you were in, they had everything you could possibly think of. Vinyl record collections, Beanie Babies, baseball cards, army surplus supplies. I got all my 90s hip hop camouflage gear from Gibraltar Trade Center. Guns. They had guns and even more guns and Confederate flags. It could have been called Gibraltar's Gun and Good Old Boys Meetup. There was a lot of guns. And they had a few tattoo vendors too. Uh, we were walking around Gibraltar Trade Center, and that's what you did as a teenager. All you wanted to do was like walk around a mall. But in this case, it was Gibraltar Trade Center. So we were just walking around. And I remember we walked past the tattoo vendors, and O'Neal says, I'm going to get a tattoo. It was the most spontaneous, everlasting, forever things I had seen. I thought he was kidding. O'Neal's like one of these fun, funny, silly guys. All my best friends have always been more funny and outgoing than me. I'm like the Ed McMahon type to the Johnny Carson type. I all my friendships are like that. I kind of like playing the straight man in comedy. I'm dry. That's kind of I feel comfortable there, like watching my friend do all the crazy shit and then me joining in reluctantly. But O'Neal says, I'm gonna go get a tattoo. And he goes in the booth and he talks a little while and he looks through a 3-ring binder. And the next thing I know, he's in the chair and there's a guy who looks like one of the ZZ Top guys drawing on O'Neal's forearm with a tattoo gun. And that's what tattoo people look like back then. ZZ Top, they own a Harley, they're in the biker gang. And what makes this even more funny and crazy is the guy who looked like ZZ Top was tattooing. Is it tattooing? That's what you say, inking, or what do you say, drawing? But the guy who looks like ZZ Top is tattooing Black Love on O'Neal's forearm. That's what O'Neal wanted. He wanted Black Love written on his forearm. I don't know how painful tattoos on the forearm are, but O'Neal was wincing and fighting, and I was laughing, but he got it done. Black Love on the forearm. Your turn, Shannon. Nah, I'm good. Soon after, it seemed like tattoos were everywhere. I'm a black kid from Detroit in the early 90s, and it may be different where you are, but I think Detroit was the start of the tattoo craze. And it came from one of our great counterculture athletes of our generation, Detroit Pistons power forward, Dennis Rodman.
Once you have so much pain in your life, I mean, you put pain in your body.
Now, we can argue that if you like. I will say this, though. No one wanted to be like Dennis Rodman. It's usually like this, though. One guy belly flops into the pool, then everyone else feels more comfortable to dip in a toe, then a foot, then everyone has a few tattoos. Girls wanted paw prints, cat scratches, panthers, any kind of cat. The key areas for the women were breast meat, thigh meat, hip meat. My favorite tattoo on a woman is that front hip tattoo, like that's right here, or the side hip. Though, so sexy, so sexy. And this was the time of the infamous lower back tattoo, the tramp stamp. You got one, don't you? Be honest. Let me see it. Let me see it. Guys wanted barbed wire, bulldogs, crosses are always popular, tribal tattoos. I was going to get a tribal armband around my biceps. I've always been told, I had nice biceps. I walked past numerous tattoo parlors on the street, tempted, but I always said, nah, I'm good. I'm so glad I didn't get a tribal band on my arm, though. Tattoos are ubiquitous now. You like that word, don't you? Ubiquitous. Use that word today. That's your word of the day. Now you see tattoos everywhere. I'm single now. And most of the women I've dated have at least one or two tattoos. One lady, she had a baby fat tattoo, like a baby fat logo right on her front hip. It was like throwback sexy. You knew that was sexy back in the day. Some women even have a whole ass full of tattoos. Those are some upcoming stories, so stick with me. Those will be some good stories. And it's not only bartenders with full arm sleeve tattoos, but it's your daughter's 5th grade science teacher. She has them too, and she doesn't even hide it. I'm in my 40s now, and I've been getting that itch again. I'm single. I've been working out. Sometimes when I look at myself after a shower, I think I look good with some tattoos. Maybe I could take some attention away from old scars or old skin. Some women are even turned on by it. Why you think olive oil stayed with Popeye so long? But what do I get? Maybe I go with the tried and true cross or a Bible verse, or maybe my kids' names, or maybe just maybe the name of this show. Maybe I get homemade. And where do I put it? On my forearm, on my bicep, on my neck, maybe my forehead. Or maybe I just keep all my spider veins and scars and aging skin visible. And I just say, nah, I'm good. Shout out to all my untattooed people out there who always said, no, I'm good.
Mm. Now that's homemade.